Welcome back to Minecraft with Iron Diet. Today we're doing a code door. So by code door I mean that you either fill cauldrons a certain amount, which was my original video idea, or you can actually do item frames or filling up chests a certain amount, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do here. My design for this uses some comparator mechanics. So as you can see, we've got a subtract comparator here, and then a normal one kind of here with these two setups going in. I think it's clever. Someone from SciCraft probably has a design that is like 2 blocks by 1 block and, uses shulker going through a portal. But my design, I think, is pretty cool. So, anyway, we'll just show this in action. So we'll turn this item in this item frame. When we get to this point, our door opens and we can reveal this ancient cave because we solved the puzzle of turning one item. There's an ancient text in here, and I forgot to make this block into moss. Yes, there's an ancient text with a moss block next to it that, wow, this is ancient. The idea of this, if we actually turn the item frame one more, the door will close again. And that's what this bit of it does. So I'll show you what the different bits do. The chest here, each time you have a stack, so a stack of items is equivalent to having a sword in there. And I worked out in my last comparator video, it's a stack of items plus 60 for every extra redstone signal. So that's why there's a sword, which is a stack of items and 60 items. You could also use a block with an item frame to activate this comparator, but that would stick out an extra block, so it would make the design bigger. So one of the things I think is cool with this is it's only like 1 block high of redstone, except for this bit. But so the first part of this is when the item frame is more than a certain amount. So here we've determined if you've turned it more than 3 times, then this comparator will turn on because this comparator can no longer stop it. Whereas if it's 3 times or less, which means the signal strength is 3 in the side, then that means you need to have it bigger than 3 to make a signal come out this, because if it's less than that, so this is 8, this is 1, so because that's less than the signal from this comparator, this one is completely off. However, once we get to 4, this signal is now bigger than this one, so this can get through. And that also means the signal at this redstone dust is 4. So in our second chest, we actually have an extra stack and 60. Again, the sword is equivalent to a stack. Then we have a comparator on subtract mode. So what this means is whenever this comparator, so the signal strength coming from here, is bigger than 4, which is the signal coming out of here, this comparator will turn off, which means this torch turns on. And likewise for our original one, when it comes on, it will turn this torch off. But if the signal goes larger, then this signal strength is enough to turn off this comparator in subtract mode, because it's like this is now the same as this and we'll turn it off. So now this torch comes on. So if either of these torches at the end are on, then it'll turn this torch off, which closes our door. So if it's like higher than the amount we need from this chest, but also higher than this one, it will turn the entire thing off. But if it's the exact right amount, which is 4, then it's enough to get past this first comparator that would turn it off if it was 3 or less. But then it's not enough to turn off this one, so that means this torch stays off. But if we turn it once more, then that torch will come on and that turns it back off again. So we're just basically using it so that both these torches have to be off. And the first one is like, can the signal get through here? So is the signal bigger than 3? If it gets through there, this torch turns off. And by default, this torch is off because of this one. So in the default position, then this torch is on, which turns the door closed. And the other torch is off. So once we've turned it enough, it will also turn this torch off. So this torch will come on, and that opens the door. And this torch, the second torch, is being turned off by the second chest, which has more items in it. But when we turn it more, then because the signal coming from our item frame is bigger than the signal coming from this chest, it'll turn this comparator off, which turns this torch back on. Then that will close the door again. So we're just making it that we've effectively got two conditions. This one is that the signal strength is bigger than the first chest, and this one is that the signal strength is less than the second chest. So those both have to be true at the same time for the circuit to come on, and that's called an AND gate in computer science, where you have two things have to be true at the same time or it won't work. But how do we make this into a code door? Because a code, you'd have to get multiple things right at the same time, whereas this one you can just turn it and it will open at some point, which is not very good security. So we'll have to build another one of these to make a code door, and that means I can show you how to build it. So you're going to need a couple of chests, 4 comparators, repeater, 4 redstone dust, 3 redstone torches, and a bunch of blocks. And you can use some wooden swords to save yourself a bunch of blocks in these chests, because again, swords will represent a stack of items, same as armor, same as bows, so anything you got like that you can use. So our input block, which could also be a chest as well, that you have to put a certain amount of items in, but we're using an item frame. You could also use cauldrons, etc, anything that has a signal strength, and then we just need an item in there that we can turn to get the right amount. So torches are kind of useful because they face upright by default, so you can tell where they are easily by how far they've gone from the middle. So firstly, we want a comparator coming out of there, and then we need a comparator going into that comparator with a chest behind it. So you need to decide how much signal you want, how far you want it to be rotated around, so just count, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will do for this one, and that's how many items and 60 I need. So sword plus 60 items I need in this chest. Again, you could use a stack of items instead of the sword, or 16 ender pearls or snowballs, anything that represents a stack of items there, and then 60 items or the equivalent, and you just do that as many times as you turned it round. So for our one, we're doing 5. Okay, there we go. And then this comparator is going to be going into a block and then redstone behind it. So our first torch is just a repeater going into a block with a torch. So for our second chest, we're going to need to put one more set of items compared to this one. So because there's 5 in this one, we put 6 in this one. Okay, so we've got our 6 in this one. Now, from the redstone coming from the first one, we do a comparator, and then a comparator coming out the chest, the second chest, on subtract mode. Then we do a redstone dust coming out of that into a block, into a torch. And then we put redstone here. Now this redstone, when we get the actual output from it, we're going to want to invert it, depending on which way round your door closes or opens. So like on this one, if I change it so that the redstone is this way around, then it will be open unless the item is in the right place. The main thing is this will only be off with both torches being off if the item is in the exact right place. So again, the main important thing is chest 1 is the amount of times you turn the item around, and chest 2 is the amount of times you turned your item around plus 1 of this sword and 60 block combo. If you had a chest here that you filled full of items, so if you had a chest as your input and it was absolutely full of items, so I'm not going to fill up this chest, but if this was full of items, then you wouldn't need this second chest, because if it was bigger than a chest that's one step away from being full, then the only option is either you have the full signal coming out or it's off. So if you want an input that's just a chest that's completely full of items, then you wouldn't need the second chest bit. You could just take an output from the first bit and you'd have a full chest here. So to demonstrate that this is working, we'll have a torch coming out going into a lamp so we can clearly see when we're at the right position and when we're not. So if we turn it any amount different, the lamp will go off because the torch has turned it off. Only when it's in the exact right position will the lamp come on. So to make a code input from these, when both items are in the correct place, the redstone at the back from these two torches, like both those torches will be off. So if we just take the redstone from each of them and do it going into a block with a torch in it, this torch will only be on when all of these torches are off. So if either of the items is in the wrong position, one of the torches will be on which will turn this torch off. So again, if we turn this in the wrong position, then this side is on. So even if we put this redstone torch in the right position, and this side is off, then this side would still be on, which would turn this torch off. So now we can take the output from this, which is now blocking our door, unfortunately, but oh well. We can take the output from this and make it go into our door. So if we put both of these in the right position now, then we create an infinite loop because we're an idiot. Okay, we'll just move this redstone one block up. If we have both our items in the right position, door is open, because this torch that we're using to open it is on. But if we turn any of them in the wrong position, it'll make one of their torches come on, which will turn this torch off. So you can chain these together, and all you have to do is take redstone going from the torches at the back of them that leads into a block with a torch on it, and then if any of them are on, which means any of them are wrong, then the torch will turn off and your secret door will close. So there we go, it's open, and we can see our ancient text of truly ancient events that, have not been seen in years. I understand this video is probably really confusing, it was really hard to make, and it's really late at night, but I thought it was a cool thing nonetheless, having this kind of tiny little circuit using comparators. It's a good follow-on from the comparator video. So, yeah, if there's anything you think I could do better in these videos, then don't be shy and sound off in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I've been Died. Whee!